Hello, friends. Have you ever wondered what the rarest thing in today's world is? Money, success, time? No. The rarest thing is silence. Today, we're going to talk about a book that inspires us to understand and embrace the power of silence. The Power of Silence by Cardinal Sarah. This book is not just a collection of words. It's a profound spiritual journey that reveals the immense power of silence and how it can transform our lives. We live in an era filled with noise. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with mobile notifications, the clamor of social media, the loud hum of the TV, and the relentless pace of daily life. This constant noise doesn't allow us a single moment of peace. We've become so busy that we don't even realize how deeply this unending noise affects our mental tranquility. When we embrace silence, we begin to understand ourselves better. We can feel our emotions more deeply, recognize our fears, worries, and true desires. But in today's world, adopting silence isn't easy, because distractions surround us from every direction: entertainment, social media, and work pressure. We've started to fear silence because it forces us to hear our inner voice, and that voice often confronts us with our deepest fears and vulnerabilities. Yet, it's in these moments of silence that we find the greatest opportunity to know and improve ourselves. Silence isn't just an external experience. It's an internal state. It's the most effective way to calm our minds and empower our souls. This book helps us understand that silence isn't merely the absence of speech. It's a powerful force that allows us to look deep within ourselves. When we are in silence, we start finding answers to life's most important questions. Who are we? What do we want? What is our purpose? In silence, we not only connect with ourselves, but also with the divine power that governs the universe. Whether you're religious or not, it's undeniable. Sitting in a quiet environment brings a unique experience. It makes you feel lighter, frees you from your troubles, and fills you with renewed energy. But the question remains, in this noisy world, how can we embrace silence? How can we bring peace into our lives? This book provides deep and practical answers. The power of silence teaches us to find moments in our lives where we can be alone with ourselves, free from noise and distractions. When we start doing this, we realize that our true strength lies in silence. The book views silence not just as a spiritual tool, but as a source of mental and emotional healing. Just as our body needs rest through sleep, our mind needs rest too, and that rest comes from silence. This video isn't just a summary of a book, it's an attempt to present a life-changing perspective. It will make you reflect on how long it's been since you found a moment of peace for yourself, since you spent time with your own thoughts. It reminds us that silence is not a weakness, but a profound strength. So if you want to find moments of peace in this fast-paced life, calm your mind, and experience true joy, watch this video till the end. We'll dive deep into the power of silence to explore how this book can transform our lives and how we can make silence a part of our daily existence. Chapter 1. The Importance of Silence. An Unspoken Power. Have you ever noticed that when everything around you is quiet, a faint voice rises from the depths of your mind? A voice that gets lost in the world's noise, but becomes clear when you embrace silence. This is the voice of your soul, always speaking, but we rarely hear it. We live in a world where noise has become our routine. From the morning alarm to the endless stream of notifications, the stress of work, the chatter of social media, and the blaring TV or music at home, we've trapped ourselves in such a fast-paced life that we're drifting away from our greatest strength: silence. Silence is not just the absence of words. It's a state of the soul. It's where we meet our true selves. When you're in silence, you feel the inner world that's usually drowned out by noise. Unfortunately, today's world often sees silence as weakness. We stay busy because we fear sitting idle. But why do we fear it? Because silence confronts us with our true selves, our weaknesses, unfulfilled desires, and deepest fears. When you sit in silence, your mind surrounds you with questions you've avoided. Am I living my life in the right direction? Am I truly happy? What is the real purpose of my life? This is why we often avoid silence, keeping ourselves busy to escape the depths of our own minds. But Cardinal Sarah explains, those who embrace silence come closer to their soul. In silence, you see the truth hidden by noise, a truth that doesn't scare you, but liberates you. The importance of silence lies in its ability to disconnect us from the external world and connect us with our inner world. When you embrace silence, your thoughts become clearer. You reflect on life more deeply, and you understand your decisions with greater clarity. True spirituality is born from silence. All great saints and thinkers gave silence a significant place in their lives. Buddha attained enlightenment in silence. Jesus prayed in solitude, and ancient sages made silence their strength through deep meditation. When we embrace silence, we too can feel that divinity within us. But embracing silence isn't easy. It's a practice, a discipline. The first time you sit in silence, you may feel restless. Your mind may wander, and thoughts may overwhelm you, making it seem pointless. But with regular practice, you realize that silence can bring boundless peace. Silence is essential not only for us, but also for our relationships. When we embrace silence, we listen to others more attentively, understand their emotions better, and deepen our connections. Silence isn't limited to spirituality. It's useful in every aspect of life. In difficult situations, our first reaction is often anger, worry, or fear. But if we pause and embrace silence, we make better decisions. Silence teaches us patience, resilience, and the ability to channel our energy in the right direction. So how can we incorporate silence into our lives? The answer is simple. Set aside a few minutes each day to sit with yourself. No phone, no TV, no music, just you and silence. It may feel challenging at first, but gradually it becomes a habit. And once it does, you'll notice how much your life changes. You'll feel calmer, more focused, and happier. Chapter 2. The Revolutionary Power of Silence, the Invisible Music of the Soul. Have you ever thought about how a great musician's melody includes moments of silence between notes? That silence gives depth and soul to the music. But when silence is lost in the noisy orchestra of life, we forget to hear our own life's melody. Silence is not just a state of peace, it's a revolutionary force that can transform us from within and elevate our lives to a new level. In today's world, silence is becoming increasingly rare. We're constantly immersed in noise, whether it's the external world or the chatter of our own thoughts. From morning to night, our ears and minds are processing endless information. But do we ever realize how much this constant noise stirs chaos within us? The more we entangle ourselves in external noise, the further we drift from inner peace. Silence is not a simple process. It has the power to bring revolutionary change. When we're in silence, it takes us to the depths of our soul, introducing us to our true selves. We often live according to the world's expectations. Society, family, and career demands consume us, leaving no time to reflect on who we are or what we truly want. But in silence, we find answers to these questions. Silence is like a form of meditation, connecting us to the divine power that runs the universe. When someone truly embraces silence, they disconnect from the external world and enter the sacred space of their soul. This is where true wisdom and profound peace are born. But embracing silence isn't easy. The first time you sit in silence, a storm of thoughts arises, memories of the past, worries about the future, and the pain of unfulfilled dreams. This is why most people avoid silence, keeping themselves busy to avoid facing their inner depths. Running from silence is not a solution. If we want true peace and fulfillment, we must cross this storm. The revolutionary power of silence lies in its ability to awaken our soul's strengths while helping us meet our true selves. In silence, you learn to control your thoughts, recognize your fears, doubts, and insecurities, and gradually free yourself from them. Silence shows you the path to your full potential. The world keeps us busy, because if we learn to live in silence, we'll recognize truths it wants to hide. We're told that success means staying busy, earning wealth, and seeking external validation. But in silence, we realize that true success is knowing ourselves, seeing the pure essence of our soul, and understanding the deeper meaning of our existence. Silence doesn't just transform us mentally and spiritually, it changes our behavior and decisions. When we embrace silence, our patience grows, our anger diminishes, and we better understand others' emotions. We learn to avoid unnecessary arguments and stress. All great saints, yogis, and philosophers considered silence their greatest strength. Jesus practiced silent meditation in solitude. Buddha attained enlightenment in silence. And Indian sages made silence their spiritual power through meditation. This shows that silence is a universal force, effective for everyone, regardless of religion or culture. Chapter 3. The Crisis of the Modern World. Humanity, drowning in noise. Have you ever felt that as the world speeds forward, we feel an increasing emptiness within? Have you noticed that our lives are filled with constant noise, machine sounds, phone ringtones, social media notifications, and the clamor of news channels? This noise doesn't let us realize how much our soul craves silence. The modern world is grappling with a strange crisis, one we often fail to recognize because it's hidden in the noise. We're always listening to something. But do we truly hear anything deeply? When we wake up, our first instinct is to check our phones, to see what's happening in the world, who messaged us, or what new news has arrived. The day's hustle keeps us so busy that we can't hear our own voice. The digital age has convinced us that the busier we are, the more successful we'll be. But is that true? The modern world's greatest crisis is that we've lost silence. We've come to see noise as a symbol of progress and development. We're taught that if we sit quietly, we'll fall behind. But the truth is, the more we drown in noise, the further we drift from our soul. Today everyone is running, but few know where they're headed. We've become so addicted to technology, entertainment, and social media that we've stopped sitting alone with our thoughts. Noise isn't just external, it's growing within us. We've created an inner restlessness that keeps us constantly engaged in something. Whenever we get a moment, we immediately watch a video, listen to a podcast, or check our phones. Why? Because we've started to fear facing our own thoughts. This crisis isn't just personal. It affects all of humanity. When a society loses silence, it loses its spirituality. Silence gives us the power to introspect, to discern right from wrong, and to approach the ultimate truth we often ignore. But when noise surrounds us, we become blind to this truth. Today, people are more stressed, more depressed, and lonelier than ever. Why? We're constantly connected, yet feel disconnected. The biggest reason is that we've banished silence from our lives. Noise doesn't just affect our ears, it pollutes our mind and soul, pulling us away from true peace and creating the illusion that busyness equals happiness. The only way out of this crisis is to bring silence back into our lives. We must understand that peace and true happiness lie not in noise, but in silence. When we embrace silence, we learn to calm the noise in our minds, recognize our inner truth, and understand the true meaning of life. Embracing silence isn't easy. The first time we sit in silence, it feels strange. Our mind becomes restless, and everything seems shallow or incomplete. But with practice, we begin to experience the power of silence. We feel more stable, balanced, and at peace. To escape the modern world's crisis, we must carve out moments in our day for complete silence. No phone, no music, no conversation. Just us and our thoughts. This small step can bring profound change. Chapter 4. Silence and the Mystery of God. A divine touch in the depths of the soul. Have you ever wondered why? Standing before a majestic mountain, gazing at the vast ocean, or looking at the twinkling stars in the night sky brings a profound sense of peace. What is the force that compels us to look within during these moments? It's the power of silence, which brings us closest to God. Silence is not just a means of peace. It gives us the ability to understand the mystery of God. In today's world, we're always running, surrounded by noise. But when we step into a quiet place, a secluded forest, an ancient temple, a church, or even our own room when everything is still, we feel a different sensation. This sensation tells us that we're not limited to the material world. A deep spiritual power resides within us. But to reach this realization, we need silence. God always reveals himself in silence. In religious texts, we see that God's presence is expressed through silence. When Moses experienced God, it wasn't in loud chaos, but through a burning bush in quiet solitude. When Jesus prayed during his most significant moments, he sought solitude, away from the crowds. Similarly, Indian sages attained self-realization through silent meditation. This shows that silence is the most powerful medium to connect with God. The problem is, we don't want to stay in silence. We keep ourselves busy because we fear that in silence, we'll have to face our inner questions. Who are we? Where is our life headed? Is what we're doing truly meaningful? But when we embrace silence and rise above this fear, we realize that God was always near. We just didn't take the time to listen. Silence is not just the absence of words. It's a profound state of the soul where we can communicate with God without external interference. When we enter silence, our soul gradually quiets its noise. At first, our mind is restless. Thoughts come and go. But with practice, we become calm. This is when we truly experience God. Today, we often search for God in external things, miracles, material pleasures, or specific places. But God is within us, and the path to Him opens through silence. When we let go of noise and surrender fully to God, we experience His true presence. Embracing silence transforms our lives. We become more patient, compassionate, and sensitive. We find joy in small things and understand the deeper meaning of life. People often say they don't feel God's presence, that prayers seem futile and spirituality feels like a ritual. The reason is that we've lost silence. We pray, but treat it like a checklist, not a deep conversation. To connect with God, we don't just need words. We must surrender our entire being in silence. If we want to understand God's mystery, we must make room for silence in our lives. Set aside time each day where no external distractions interfere, no phone, no music, no conversation, just you and silence. This is where true peace and the answers to all your questions await. Chapter 5. Silence and Liturgy. The path to touching the depths of spirituality. Have you ever entered an ancient temple, church, or mosque, where the silence is so profound that your mind instantly feels at peace? Have you noticed that during a religious ritual, when silence prevails, every mantra, prayer, or act feels more powerful? Silence is what connects liturgy, any religious ritual, to true spirituality. Silence as holy. Silence pulls us away from external chaos and connects us to inner peace. When we visit a sacred space and experience silence, our mind naturally turns toward spirituality. But if that space is filled with noise, our focus breaks, and we lose the chance to connect with God. Liturgy is not just a collection of mantras, hymns, or rituals. It's a divine conversation. It's the sacred moment when we stand before God and feel His presence. But for this conversation to be effective, silence is essential. Words alone don't matter. The moments of silence between them carry deep meaning. Silence helps us understand the true essence of prayer. We often think that to make religious rituals impactful, we need more mantras, hymns, or music. But in truth, it's the silence between these elements that deepens our connection with God. When a priest pauses in silence during a prayer, or a devotee offers their heartfelt emotions to God without words, true spirituality is born. Silence is not an empty space. It's a sign of the divine presence that words cannot express. In modern times, we've lost silence in liturgy. We want everything to feel grander, louder prayers, music-filled hymns, and elaborate rituals. But in this pursuit, we forget the silence that truly brings us closer to God. At religious events, we're surrounded by chatter, phone notifications, and bustling activity, which distracts us from the true purpose of liturgy. Even when we visit sacred places, our soul doesn't find the peace it seeks because we've stopped embracing silence. When we incorporate silence into religious rituals, we experience something profound. When a devotee stands in silence after a prayer, offering their emotions to God without words, they undergo a deep spiritual experience, one that transcends language. To restore liturgy's true power, we must bring back silence. We must accept that God cannot be found only through words, but through the silence that lets us feel His presence. When we're in silence, our mind's impurities gradually fade, and we can sense God within us. Silence in liturgy takes us to a new dimension, where our soul finds peace and we understand the deeper meaning of our existence. Conclusion. When we step away from the world's chaos and enter silence, we realize it's not just an ordinary experience, it's a path to the depths of our soul. The Power of Silence by Cardinal Sarah teaches us that silence is not just the absence of words, but a profound spiritual state that brings us closer to God. Through this book's chapters, we've explored how silence can bring transformative change to our lives, freeing us from the modern world's noise and granting spiritual peace. When we understand the power of silence and liturgy, we realize that religious rituals are not just formalities. They offer us a chance to connect with God's divine mystery. In a life filled with hustle, digital distractions, and external noise, we need silence more than ever. It gives us the power to look within, clarify our thoughts, and establish a deep connection with God. Silence connects us to the true purpose of life and brings peace to our soul. The next time you feel restless or dissatisfied, when life seems to lack peace and clarity, embrace silence. Pause for a moment. Look within, quiet your thoughts, and feel God's presence. This is the power that can profoundly change your life. If you found this video inspiring, please like, comment, and share it to spread this message. Thank you for watching, and until next time, embrace silence, feel the peace, and discover the true meaning of life. So friends, that was today's book summary. Based on the power of silence, what part touched you the most? Let us know in the comments. And truly, thank you for listening all the way till the end. For more soulful and thought-provoking book summaries, don't forget to subscribe to Listen and Move On.